Yes, my dear friends, welcome back to the channel. Very good morning to you guys all out there. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning. Chelsea match day. Chelsea Fluminense in the semi-finals of the Club World Cup. Yeah. Yes, it is a semi-final. Tonight, it depends on where you are. Some of us will be watching it again after midnight, 3 a.m. here in Southeast Asia. In Africa, it should be 8 p.m. and in the UK also. But in US, that's 3 p.m. Here in Asia, it's going to be tomorrow morning, 3 a.m. for us to watch the game. Ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. What are your expectations? Tonight, Chelsea Fluminense semi-finals. We are going to be facing one of our own, Thiago Silva. Hey guys, I'll be back later in the day, in the afternoon, for the preview of the game. Yeah, right now, the latest news that I have is what I want to present to you quickly. Let's get started. What is the latest news on the transfer market? Let's start from Chelsea, from what our coach has to say yesterday at a press conference. First and foremost, Enzo Maresca says Romeo Lavia will not be part of tonight's game. Maresca said Lavia will not be in the squad because he's doing an individual training. And truly, he was not spotted yesterday in the training video and the pictures that came up. Romeo Lavia was not in the squad training, and our head coach rightfully confirmed that. So it means, in the absence of Lavia, I don't know, my predicted lineup later in the afternoon, I think Santos double pivot with Caicedo. in our last game, actually, Santos played the role of Caicedo. This time around, I'm not too sure, but I'm thinking we're going to go double pivot. Santos will play alongside Caicedo with double pivot. Yes, with Enzo Fernandez, a little ahead of them. Hey, I'm not giving my predicted lineup yet. We will get back to that. But ladies and gentlemen, Lavia once again at the sideline. This guy is good. We bought some midfielders. He's good. We have players like Santos. Good. We have players like what's his name? Dario Esugo. Yes, he's also available to step in. It's good. We have backup for Lavia at this moment. Now, apart from what our head coach has said, he also spoke about Pedro Neto's position. Maresca on Joao Pedro. Yes, Joao Pedro's position. He said Pedro can play wide as number 10 and as number 9. Pedro can play wide, can also play as 10 and also as 9. Ladies and gentlemen, number 10, we know Kopama is already there, unless of course something else, there is a reason why they want to make use of him at number 10. Number 9 means that Delap or Jackson will have to bench. Wide, which part of the wide is going to be playing? He's going to play in the pocket or the left wide or right wide. I would expect him those positions. Listen, Joao Pedro, see what I've seen him did in our last game, right? I think he played alongside Nkuku. Yes, alongside Nkuku, right? It's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. But wait a minute, we will come back. We will come back later in the afternoon. We'll see what's going to happen in our predicted lineup. Ladies and gentlemen, now before we continue, Fluminense coach, yes, Fluminense coach has something to say yesterday in a press conference. Fluminense boss, Renato Gaucho, this is what he said. He said, with all due respect to Chelsea, we don't want to stop here. With all due respect to Chelsea, we don't want to stop here. We are going to do all we can psychologically, physically, technically, and tactically. We have to put everything into this. A lot of people thought we couldn't do it, but we are in the semi-finals. And it's true. This Fluminense side ended last season on 13th place in Brazil League. They ended 13th on their league table. As we speak, I think they are 6th or so on their league table. Thanks to Thiago Silva, that stepped in and began to do assistant coach job alongside playing together with them. solidifying their defense. So this time around, they are 6th on the league table. And hey, look at the wonders they have done so far. The only Brazilian team left in this tournament. Ladies and gentlemen, that is from their coach. And we want to see, tonight, I know that Chelsea will carry the night. No doubt about that. No doubt at all, Chelsea will carry the night. Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, to some transfer news. Villarreal contacted the French defender, Disasi. Villarreal contacted French defender, Chelsea defender, Axel Disasi, to sign him up. Negotiations ongoing. Newcastle also is keeping an eye on him. And other Premier League clubs, and even Italian clubs, we understand. Chelsea is asking for around 30 million euros. 30 million euros. Disasi. Axel Disasi is expected to leave Chelsea this summer. Listen, you see, Disasi is one of our defenders that knows how to deal with teams that play low block. Teams that love to play low block. When they go on counter, he's one of the defenders that you can trust. He's not a bad defender, but he just did not fit into Maresca's system. That's the way I see it. That's the way I see it. Now, Chelsea has placed 30 million euro. Yeah, if we're able to recoup 30 million euro, or we're able to get, we know we need our 60 million euro in order to buy, to balance our books in order to buy. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. Now, going to Noni Madueke, we understand Arsenal presented £40 million to Chelsea. Chelsea rejected that bid. Chelsea are asking for 50 million. Chelsea are asking for in excess of 50 million for Noni Madueke. Madueke still has 5 years left on his contract with Chelsea. So Chelsea are not under pressure to sell Noni. Chelsea are not under any pressure to sell Noni Madueke because the player still has about 5 years on his contract. No talks between the clubs yet regarding the amount. Christopher Nkunku is again a target for Bayern Munich, according to The Athletic. Christopher Nkunku is once again a target for Bayern Munich, according to The Athletic. Now, Tottenham Hotspurs. This issue with Kudus and Tottenham, I found it bizarre. I find it bizarre to realize that a club like Tottenham want to sign Mohamed Kudus, a player that Chelsea has an interest in. Though we have not yet had direct talks with West Ham, except the first time that we heard Chelsea want to give a player plus cash, 2 players to West Ham plus cash to get Kudus, which we understand West Ham rejected. Since then, there have been contacts between the player and Chelsea, but that was just it. Then we understand Tottenham are seriously working to get a deal done, to the extent they offered their first bid of £50 million to West Ham, which West Ham rejected. And West Ham issued a statement that they are hoping more clubs, including Chelsea, will come up with a better bid. Ladies and gentlemen, then we understand that West Ham presented their own offer to Mohamed Kudus. Few days, I heard it, but it's like, in my mind, it sounds odd. They said Tottenham presented their own offer to Kudus. And it sounded so odd in my ear that West Ham want to put in a clause for Mohamed Kudus that if he agreed to sign with them, there will be, West Ham, if they agree for Chelsea, for Tottenham to sign Kudus, part of the payments, the structure will say that if Kudus help them to win the Premier League or the Champions League, Kudus helping them to win the Premier League or the Champions League, then only they will do the additional payments. But you and I, we all know that Tottenham are nowhere near winning the Premier League, talk less of Champions League. Even the Europa League they won, it was just by chance. Some magical things that the previous coach, Ange Postecoglou, did. He said that he normally wins in his second season. And truly to his word, he won in his second season. That was just by chance, somehow, divinely. How will you say such a thing to West Ham? That if Tottenham is able to win the Champions League or the Premier League, you are not serious. I think West Ham is supposed to just... No wonder West Ham was not interested in continuing any negotiations with them. And they are waiting on other clubs. And this is where I know Chelsea are just waiting. Just don't want to go on any bidding war with any club. But I still have that feeling that kudos to Chelsea is still on. Yes, I still have that feeling that kudos to Chelsea is still likely to happen. Chelsea, number one, want to sell. Then they can now be sure on their next bid. That is why I believe Noni Madueke's deal to Arsenal is equally likely to happen. It's very, very likely to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your breakfast, and I'll not take much time. Let me just end up here. You see, Chelsea putting Premier League and Champions League bonus clause into Kudu's bid. For me, it's actually the funniest thing I've ever heard or seen in this 2025 transfer window. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea are planning for Nicola Jackson to remain at Stamford Bridge. Sources have told Football Insider Enzo Maresca wants to keep the Senegalese international at the club, despite recent additions of Liam Delap and Joao Pedro. That I know. Even the player said that he wants to make amends. He doesn't want to leave Chelsea on a sad note. He wants to make amends. So that we already know. Nicolas Jackson ain't going anywhere. My boy ain't going anywhere. My boy is going to stay in Chelsea next season, next 2 seasons. He will still be there. Listen, I will not be surprised. Delap could just still move on because Jackson is the home owner and Jackson will take up his position. I'll see you guys on the next one when you see me. Remember the preview coming up in the afternoon. Shalom and peace.